Hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today, I will be taking a look at two wonderful books by the artist James Collier. James sent this to Sean, and Sean sent it to me. So thank you so much, James, for passing these along. I've really enjoyed them. The first one here is called Lonesome Shepherd. This was published by Web Shop, and you can see that James sent along a lovely little letter. That's always nice when people whose work I really enjoy obviously are watching the channel and want us to look at it. That's super cool. So this one is a silent book that's about the Lonesome Shepherd. You're following this guy around his day, dreaming about where he's going to get his sheep. The art in this is really, really great. It's a spot color job that's like black within with this extra green color on it. Really, James Collier has consumed, I think, a bunch of different artists and like synthesized them into his own look. There's a lot of different approaches throughout here. Right away, I'm thinking like Jordan Crane, Michael DeFord, Sammy Harcum type of really clean line with that spare one spot color or whatever. But then you get to pages like this where the background looks almost like a Jeff Smith drawing. Something about the line quality on the shepherd here looks a little bit like Chester Brown to me. And then you get these pages here, which just really, really beautiful, like solid black and white silhouette work. Lot of really lovely, almost like Chris Ware sketchbook type of drawing here in the background to get all the leaves. So a lot of different things coming together here, but I wouldn't say it feels like someone's cribbing any of those artists. It just is in that realm and has consumed all that stuff and then become its own thing. Here you get to see the sheep. This is where I kind of feel like some Ander Nilsson influence with the clean line and a lot of the little details, the kind of psychedelic patterns and stuff. We're introduced here also to another character that has this long floppy hair. And, oh, actually, you do get some dialogue later in the book. You're introduced to this character, Adam, and Adam becomes a player in the book. You can see here he's being chased by a snake. And a third female character is introduced in the book as well. This is a kind of surreal, strange little story. So I'm not going to go into plot much because I don't want to say there's not a plot, but it's a strange, surreal story here. So we introduce a third character that comes into things that impacts the Lonesome Shepherd's life as he continues to look for his herd. So again, some really beautiful drawings here. I think this is pretty obvious that James Collier has actually found some of these like bark strips in life and drawn them. Really beautiful, like twisting the ribbony forms in there are drawn really, really well. You see here that he hangs out with some talking bears for a while, and then here towards the end meets this old character with the donkey, and I think these drawings are really great. And again, feels like it's coming from a different comics lineage, but it integrates into the page. Really, really cool, like surreal story about a lonesome shepherd looking for his herd, looking for his place in life, and a lot of just really beautiful, delicate line work, and a lot of fun play with different styles throughout. So James Collier is someone who I think is a very powerful cartoonist, and I look forward to seeing more. And then we have this anthology book here called BALLPARK, which shows off even some other sides of Collier's artistic practice. So one-man anthology. We start with like the artist's statement, which is I just glue shit together and hope it works. And then we jump into Kitty. Kitty is a very sad character here, walking around with a knife in his back, making friends with a character Lion. This all reminds me for some reason of being in Berkeley and just like the homeless people that had their own coffee shop there and just hung out on the street talking. That's what the vibes of this story feel like to me. And in here we finally get the knife out of Kitty's back and he duct tapes it shut to try and like use it as a band-aid. That was particularly funny to me because one of my best friends, Kevin Min, that I grew up with and played in a band in high school with and stuff, he had a roommate his first year at UCLA that had some wound on his thigh, I think, and was putting duct tape over it to try and, yeah, like use it as a bandage. but apparently had that same wound for a whole year, whole semester at least, because the duct tape was so sticky it would keep ripping the scab off, which is disgusting. But yeah, I can tell you, Kitty, probably not going to be the best idea there. And we have a story about a very cranky little chick being born. I love this idea as like an opening sequence to a movie, that it's like a 20-minute long opening of this egg slowly cracking open and then this cranky little chick going and terrorizing the world. I have a much sweeter story about some friends, Porcupine and Bear, hanging out in the fields together. And then a really interesting story that must have been passed on firsthand. Yeah, here we see James Collier talking to Kim Deitch in Kim Deitch's house studio, I guess. But it's talking about the time Kim Deitch met Wally Wood, and Wally Wood basically talking about how miserable he is in the comics industry. One of those, like, beware what you're getting into, people kind of comics. And then there's some more Kitty in there, and then some more stuff on the back cover. Kitty seems to be like the main character in this anthology, but a lot of other good stuff. So really, really grateful, James, that you sent this along. Really enjoyed the work, and I'm completely looking forward to anything else you do. Sala Niyalo, Path of the Shades by Clarence Doss is a really cool ongoing project that Living the Line will be producing. Clarence is a PhD student from Fiji who's studying the myths of Fiji for his doctoral thesis. And part of that study project is that he's producing these comics. They're kind of like Hellboy, where there's these little short stories that capture all of these different mythologies. But then he's using that to wrap the project into his doctoral thesis, and then provide educational material where people can come to these comics. They don't have to read his PhD thesis. They can come to the comics and get a more consumable version of the mythology of Fiji.